Hey everyone, welcome to another open wheeler track guide. We are in Watkins Glen now with the Dallara F3. I'm going to do a quick flying lap, talk you through that. Then I'm going to do a lap where I break it down into, I slow it down, rewind, show exactly where I brake, where I turn in, where I accelerate, stuff like that. And then at the end, we'll see if I have any tips for you that might be able to help you during a race situation. So let's dive straight in to cockpit view. And I'm actually starting 2 corners before the last corner. The reason for that being that this is a flat out corner. You need to have as much speed going through here as possible. You want to lift off as little as possible going into the last corner, get a really good run up this straight. Straight is super important. Now I brake I think just after the 200 mark, so you see 400, 300, 200 brake, and try and get in as close to the apex as possible. And out I could have actually, I think, gone slightly later on the apex there and done better. This is effectively a straight, very little in it. So the more speed you can carry through that first corner, the better you're going to do up here. So in a while you're going to see this is a pretty nasty chicane. There's some signs on the left hand side. At the 200 I brake and drop down a gear. So 200 brake, drop down a gear, and try carry as much speed as you can through here and shift up early in these cars. Flat here, you want to late apex it again. And then here I brake just after the 300, brakes down to 4th, and when you see that porta potty on the in the field, gun it. We'll go into more detail on that in a sec. Porta potty, portaloo, whatever. 4th gear up the hill here, very important corner. You see I actually lost a good bit of time there. I think there's far more time on the table. I just haven't had a hell of a lot of time to practice now. Brake just after the 200 here. It's actually closer to the 100, probably 150. Again, could have been tighter in that corner. Brake at the 250 mark here, and just down 1 gear into 4th. And as soon as I see that red tent, I tend to go for it. And flat out here, flat, right out to the right hand side, way over to the left, slight lift, turn in, and then on the gas as early as possible. I actually did a double commitment to the gas there. Probably wasn't the quickest either. So let's go back to the start of that. That was a 136.6. Let's go back to the start of that lap, and let's see if we can analyze where it all came from, where the speed came from. So I actually got a really good run into that last corner. I got on the accelerator early and committed quite early. So the breaking point here is, you see the 200 on the left, it's actually probably closer to the 100, so around the 150 mark. Hard on the brakes and then turn in. So you lose your speed in a straight line, turn in and accelerate as early as possible. So if that was 4th gear, stay in 4th for a very short period of time and absolutely gun it here. You can see my pedal inputs on the middle of the screen. Now this is a very tricky chicane. You don't want to take too much of the first curb on the right hand side because it will launch you off to the right. So here we've got 600, 500, 400, 300, 200, and I steer slightly towards the apex and brake 5th gear and try and get your right wheel on the first bit, your left wheel, and try and touch all the curbs there. Again, here you want to late apex, and there's no excuse here really for having to lift off. Brake just after the 300. Let's go back to that here. So you see the 300 on the right hand side. I brake just after the 300, lose the speed in a straight line, and then pretty much as soon as I see this portaloo in the field here, that's my marker. It's a very clear marker there. I don't fully commit to the throttle. You can see me half committing to the throttle, and then power out of here. You're on camber here, so the whole corner cambers and it kind of compresses you out. So you've actually got more grip there than you think. Again here, 200 mark. So you brake around the 150. In an ideal world, you get slightly wider than this, cut back and commit to the throttle once. So I messed that up slightly. And then up here, you got the 200 mark, 150. I brake at the 150. Again, a lot of these corners, you're switching down 2 gears down to 4th gear and then turning in and accelerating out. Yeah, I understeered a little bit there, probably could have done better. Now this is for me, the hardest corner on the track. So you've got the 300 on the right hand side, 200, brake close to the 200, down to 4th gear, and try to be disciplined here. So I actually wait until I see this red tent, pretty much. You can use this blue canopy as well, but I'm accelerating. So I'm actually already on the gas a little bit when I see the blue one, and then when I see the red one, I'm fully committed. You don't want to hit that wall, it'll ruin your race. And then flat out through here and try and carry as much momentum. So I'm on the white line on the left hand side. Carry as much momentum as you can here. I probably turned in too early there. Could have gone a little bit later and a little bit smoother through that corner. So hopefully that helps you guys a little bit. That's the line that I take. I'm still a second off the leaders. The top 3 are all in 135s. I don't know if I'll ever get there. I did make some mistakes here, but let's talk racing. So when you're actually racing and you're coming up this straight, obviously this is going to be a super important straight, but don't forget that these cars, you're not actually topping out in 6th gear. If there's someone behind you and they get your draft, they're going to accelerate past you. So in any of these corners, you're not really going to be too challenged. If you do get challenged in these corners and if you're forced to run wide or whatever, it's going to cause anybody who's behind you to catch up to you, because battles on here will cost you a lot of time. A lot of these turns are very, very high speed. Again here, it's going to be tricky getting up this hill with someone in your draft. If they get beside you, you're going to have to be pretty careful. If you're a really good defensive driver, you can probably defend quite well here, but it is going to be tricky because this bit of the straight is quite big. And you don't want to be side by side here. If I was side by side with someone here, I would probably squeeze them towards the middle of the track, and I would probably brake around the 300 so that they get out in front of me. They get a false sense of hope that they're after getting the position, and then I can have a more disciplined approach to the. It's probably slower, but I think it'll work well. Again here, you want to use this corner to get a really good drive. Use the fact that you have more grip here and try and get alongside someone here. So whether you're going to get to the left of someone or the right of someone, if you have slightly more pace, they're vulnerable. If you're side by side here, if you're on the inside, you can just keep that inside. Brake extra early, you've got a shorter path, and just get in front of them coming out of the corner. They're not going to take you unless they go really, really wide and cut back. Or if you make a mistake like that, they are going to take you. So then this is a pretty long straight. So if you do lay at apex that last corner, you might get a run on someone, especially if you get their draft or whatever. Here, this is the corner that I absolutely hate. People will make mistakes in this corner. If you can get up anywhere near behind them, you're probably going to get their slipstream, but there's no place to pass here. You'd want to be super talented to pass here, and it would be a little bit silly to try and pass in the last corner because you will lose lots and lots of speed unless you're on a perfect line and somebody maybe gives you the position or whatever. Hopefully that helps for the race as well. If there's anything that you want from these videos, if there's anything that you want me to touch or even go into setup details or whatever, give a shout in the comments below. And if you're liking what you're seeing, just hit like, and don't forget to subscribe. I'm giving away an F1 Thrustmaster wheel. If you don't have a Thrustmaster system, I'm giving away a €50 Amazon voucher. So everybody wins. Just subscribe and you'll be in the draw. Cheers. Thanks for watching.